how far we could go.
It's been a tough week. Please let me explain why. With that being said, welcome to Rev and Step. I have a lot to talk to you about. What happened in the past week? Why were there no videos whatsoever? Well, last weekend was a really busy weekend. I was able to install the IS38 turbocharger that comes from the Golf Rs. But a lot of things happened and I learned a lot. Honestly, it took me 2 full days. One day to take it out and another day to put it back in. But anyway, it took me 2 full days to do that install completely. I was bruised, I was banged up, I have cuts everywhere, there were bruises on my arms from like the tight fittings and stuff like that. So what was so difficult about installing the turbocharger? It's a bolt-on swap, super easy. I agree. But there are these lines, so you have an oil line right here, and then you have a coolant line somewhere in here, and then you have another oil line on the bottom and a coolant line on the bottom. So let me show you where they are. Basically, this is the old IS38 turbo. So the turbo basically sits in the car like this. So if you imagine, what I was saying is, here's the front of the turbo, here's what you guys see, right there. So this is one line, this is the coolant line, and this is the oil line. So this line was really easy to take out. The reason why I say this line was really easy to take out, because you can just put a screwdriver right here and just lift, and the line would just pop out. This line was a little bit harder to take out, so what you had to do is actually release, there is a coolant hose right down there. You had to release the coolant hose and have the line pop out this way, and then take the turbo out, and then remove the line by pretty much chiseling it with a screwdriver like that. So those are fairly simple, you know, straightforward. But what was the most difficult line of them all? So let's not even say that this was the most difficult line, because it wasn't. The shady part about this line right here, which is on the back of the turbo, is you have a different set of bolt here and a different set of bolt here, and there's a bracket that holds the line in. So you had to find 2 different set of tools to do that. A little pet peeve, you know. But the worst line of them all, I'm gonna flip the turbo upside down, was this line right here. As you can tell, this is the high pressure oil line. And a lot of people, so with the regular Golfs or even GTIs, a lot of people said take this line and find where it goes in the block and then disconnect the line from the block. So I did that. I followed those guides. Why did it take me so long? Everyone's like, hey, wiggle the line, it will come out, don't put too much pressure. You can brute force. There's no way you can brute force these lines. You have to be able to put something and kind of flip it open like that. Honestly, I spent 6 hours on Saturday trying to wiggle the line, disconnecting it from the block. That did not happen. A lot of people are like, well, put a screwdriver in there. Well, here's my problem. I have a performance pack. And what does that mean? The space there is limited. I can't put the screwdriver underneath. I can't do anything. So with the performance pack, it's a very limited space. So there's just no way this line is coming out. So what did I do? Well, the solution was actually really simple, and I think a lot of people should do that if they're doing the turbo themselves, even if they don't have the performance pack. So what happens is, you have, just picture this, you have all these lines disconnected, and this is the last line on the bottom. You can barely fit a tool here. You can kind of force it, it will fit. I did that. And you can unscrew that bolt. But what happens is, there's no way you can get to the line and wiggle or put any pressure on it. There's just no space there. So what did I do? Well, I disconnected the head studs from the turbo, and honestly, so the line is connected to a hard line here and a hard line in the block. You can just picture that. So what I did, but there is a rubber piece in the middle. So what I did is I disconnected the head studs, removed all of those, and I just flipped the turbo open. You can do that. There's enough space in the engine bay to flip the turbo open. And once you flip the turbo open, you pretty much have access like this at the line. And you can just put the screwdriver in there and just pop it out, just like that. It's really simple. And honestly, it took me 15 minutes to do that. So that is a very important lesson that I learned. The turbo was so easy to remove afterwards. If I have to honestly do this again, I hope I never have to do it again. And I might actually pay someone to do it again. But if I had to do this again, I'll have it probably done in less than 6 hours. It's so simple when you do it that way. It's just because you can flip the turbo over and have access to both these lines. I honestly believe that you can do that with the actual coolant line still being connected there, and that way you have an easier access of prying it out. So these are the lessons that I learned from actually trying to remove the old IS20. So when it comes to the IS38, what did I learn from my experience? I learned a lot of things actually. It was really easy to slide into the engine. It was a lot easier than taking this guy out of the engine. It seemed like it just fit better. Very, very simple, very straightforward install, plugging out the lines in. The only problem that took me a long time on Sunday was, again, the culprit, this line right here. The reason is, once you put this, you see where the bracket bolt is, so when you're going underneath, you can't access this with any tools, or any tools that I have. For example, I had to use a T30. And you can see the T30, you can't, even if you go at an angle, you can't. You don't want to cross thread the threads. So again, it's very difficult. And to actually have the screw start screwing on there, that sounded dirty. But anyway, to start tightening the screw, you have to be very accurate, otherwise it will not fit. Because I didn't have the oil line taken out of the car from the engine block, I had to do it this way. So, after about 4 hours, I came up with an idea. You can just use a simple Allen key. And you can see, a simple Allen key lines up perfectly. It fits perfectly. Again, it took me 5 minutes to put the screw on. So, two very important lessons that took super long time. And both of those lessons involved that oil line right there. So again, if I have to do this again, it will be super simple. Do I want to do this again? No, never. I will actually gladly pay someone 500 bucks, which was the quote that I received, to do this. I took this as a challenge. First, I wanted to save the money, and I wanted to learn. I did learn, and I did save the money. Learning, yes, is going to save me more time, but I spent 2 days, 2 full days from my time. And you know, time is money, yes. And let's say I paid myself $250 a day to do this, but my body was beat. I was destroyed, my house looked like a mess, everything was dirty, I was dirty, it was terrible. But anyway, there it is. It all fit, super easy. So, why is my car still not running correctly though? That is the question. It's nothing that I did. Well, maybe it is something that I did. I decided, because I didn't have a VACCOM, I didn't have a way to adjust the wastegate, I put in the turbo without adjusting the wastegate, and the problem started there. So the car ran fine, but my tuner, which you guys know at this time is 5150 Racing, they were having problems. They weren't understanding why my car runs a certain way compared to another IS38 they were tuning. So they did some testing, and they found that my wastegate was not adjusted properly, or it's opening a lot more than it should be, or they have to request it to open a lot more to build that boost. So there's where my frustration is. I have run a lot of logs, and the car runs randomly, and finally yesterday started actually pulling a code through the actual car computer, so that way I was for sure it was the wastegate. So what I did today is I called a very reputable shop in my area. I'll put them in another video if you guys are interested. They're really nice people. I took the car there, and again, what's stopping me from having this done in a day? The performance pack on the car. I'm not trying to dog the performance pack on the car, but it limits slip differential. It is great for what it is, but it just limits the room right there. So their tech could not fit their arms through the hot downpipe to get to the rod, which is this rod. They have to adjust this rod. They have to adjust it electronically and actually manually as well. The tech told me you can't really adjust it only electronically because it's not going to work correctly, period. So they have to, honestly, they have to spin this, adjust the wastegate, and then electronically through a program it tells them how many degrees they have to adjust it. They have a tool to measure the degrees as well. So again, the performance pack is kind of stumping the progress of the car. Otherwise, when the car runs good and it doesn't throw any codes, it's fast. It's really fast, and we haven't even started tuning it properly. It's been just testing the turbo with boost and so on. So I believe the car has a lot of potential left in it. So with that being said, the last lesson that I learned with this was actually how to bleed that tank right over there, the coolant, correctly. I read a lot about this stuff online, and a lot of people said just remove the cap and let the car run for 10 minutes. I did that. The car was running fine. Good for me, right? And after a while, after the car warmed up, coolant started spewing everywhere from the actual overflow tank. It was all over the floor. I really got scared that I busted something during the installation of the turbo. I didn't. I had no idea what it was. So I was trying to figure it out. So I kept leaving the cap open. I would start up the car, the thing would start boiling again and just spew up more coolant. So in the end, the easiest solution to that, the easiest solution to bleed this is add a little bit of coolant, run the car, drive the car. Driving the car is very important. It clears the air bubbles, but seal the cap. Leaving the cap open is not the solution. Seal the cap completely. That way the air would escape from its overflow valve and you wouldn't have the problem. So basically what I did is I filled up a little bit of coolant, went for a drive, pretty much down the road. The car said low on coolant. I stopped, put more coolant in, continued driving, came back to the garage, let the car idle, let it cool down for a little bit. I went for another drive. So I did that 3 times. And eventually, you can tell right now, the coolant is a little bit above the minimum line, which that's why I want to keep it. I'm carrying a distilled water bottle with me in the car just in case, but I want to keep it there for now. And it hasn't moved. It's been a week and the coolant has stayed in its own place. So again, through this install, doing it myself, saving $500 and so on, I learned a lot. As a mechanic, I learned very valuable lessons. I learned how to resolve some things. I learned how to deal with problems. Yes, they might have taken me 8 hours to figure out how to deal with the problems, but I learned overall, and I can be proud that I actually put this guy in there myself. And I didn't ask. I mean, I did ask for people's help, but no one really helped. Everyone was busy. But again, if you're fairly savvy with being a car mechanic and stuff like that, this would be an easy install. It would not be that hard. The problem is this was my first time doing something like that, like a big project like that, and you know, I had some difficulties, but I learned. I kept learning. The funny part is, I actually, when I got my downpipe, I took it to a shop so they can install the downpipe. I should have not done this. I learned through this also, I learned that installing a downpipe should not take more than 10-15 minutes. It was so simple. If you have the right tools, the right attachments, simple. There's a few bolts, a bolt right there, done deal. It comes out and goes in a matter of seconds. Well, there you go, guys. Those were the main pain points that I had installing, actually removing this guy and installing the IS38 turbo. Would I ever do it again? I think I answered that earlier in this video. But now when I'm thinking about it, I might. If I have to redo it, why not? It's simple. I understand the process. I have the right tools right now. I might actually do it again if I have to. Would I attempt to do it without a reason? No. The next upgrade to this car would be a big turbo, which obviously I don't have the cash to do that. So that's probably not gonna come anytime soon. I have a lot of other things in mind that I want to resolve first with the car, like well, not suspension wise, but different wheels, different tires, and there's a little other things that I can improve on before I go to another major step like this. For right now, I'm really happy. Oh, and I almost forgot. Another pain point was realizing that this turbo that's in there right now has a different part number. It is not a revision T. The IS38, the latest North American revision is revision T. Well, this one is not a revision T. This is a revision F. And if you look at the part number, it's completely different. It doesn't end on 722T. It ends on like 684 or 864. I'm not exactly sure. F. So I contacted the guy, and he was able to actually provide me with a screenshot from a guy in Mexico at a plant, at the Volkswagen plant, where it says that this is the newest revision They came out, they started in January of 2017. So the T is actually finishing June of 2017. So I was very worried at first. I called a lot of dealerships. Everyone told me that this turbo can be found in South America, Brazil, and South Africa in the Passat variant car, 2017 Passat. Also 2015, 2016 Passat. So that was very questionable. I didn't know Passats come with an IS38, but I guess in the South American and the South African countries they do. So you know that was a little ordeal, and the guy, I mean, obviously this is probably the next revision that we're gonna get in North America. Again, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I just have a screenshot that I'm gonna show you right here. But that's that. I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. Hopefully my discussion didn't discourage anyone from doing this job themselves. I believe if you're a competent mechanic, as you've seen on my channel, I have an average knowledge of stuff. You should be able to do this. It's a really simple install, to be honest, if you have the patience and the time to do it. Also, I hope you guys were able to learn how to remove these two lines more easier, and how easy it is actually to flip the turbo over inside the engine bay and have at it with those lines and have a little bit of support or a little bit of help from like a screwdriver or something like that to be able to remove those lines. Again, I appreciate you guys for watching. This is a little bit longer video. I had a lot to say, but again, as I said, I learned a lot. If you guys like this video, please press the like button. I really appreciate it. The likes mean a lot to me. They're able to I guess advertise the videos through YouTube to other people that might find this helpful. Also, please subscribe. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please subscribe. That guy's still cutting the grass. And let's get up to 1,000 subscribers. We're nearing that mark. I'm very, very happy. This channel is growing little bit by little, and I just want to bring you guys more stuff. I want to apologize. I did not do an install video because it was a frustrating experience. It was a 2-day long experience. I would have not been able to record and finish the car in time. Again, I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.